All right.
You're advertising.
And we're live. Let's go.
All right. So thank you guys for coming to the Make and Keep holiday class. Angelo should have sent out or is going to send out the handout that goes along with this, so you'll have the recipes there to go. A lot of times we think like, oh, that's really cool. I would have loved to know how to do that, to make that really cool gift. I saw this at a craft show, whatever, and we just don't have the time or the resources to go find the materials and figure out the recipe, or we're nervous because we haven't done it before. So what I did was I took apart some of the ones that were a little bit easier, more user-friendly, and stuff that is just a great way to introduce people to oils, or a nice way to give them something that can help with their health and is a nice little gift too. Or you can just keep it for yourself, either way. You're gonna see that a lot of these recipes use similar ingredients. So one common one in a lot of our recipes is baking soda. And here I pulled in 2 recipes that utilize baking soda. Another common ingredient is water. Hopefully you know where to get that. Some coconut oil, which when we talk about coconut oil, there's 2 types of coconut oil. There's fractionated, which is the kind that is liquid at room temperature. And there's just a regular coconut oil that looks more like a Crisco. We'll be using both of those. Unscented hand lotion, which you can get from doTERRA. Epsom salts, which are great to just throw in your bath anyway, but there's a couple recipes that are going to utilize some Epsom salts. There are some other ingredients in the recipes like sweet almond oil and vegetable glycerin that you can add to things like the hand soap, but you don't have to. So they're in your recipe if you want to make it a little bit smoother on your hands, but we're just going to use regular Castile soap and not add anything extra and fancy to that. And then of course your essential oils. For the molds for things like the shower melts and the bath bombs, you can go to a craft store like Michael's and get molds that will cost anywhere between like $3.79 and $21, depending on the size of your mold and what it's made from. Some of the plastic molds are the ones that are like in the $3.79 price range, and they're cute. They have like seashells and flowers and bumblebees. Or you can go to the dollar store and get an ice cube tray, which is what I'm doing. So for your shower melts, you want a smaller tray. This is actually an ice cube tray that's meant for ice cubes to be cylindrical to fit into water bottles, but it's a nice small size for your shower too. So that's what we're going to be using for the shower melts. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay. First thing for your shower melts is you're going to get baking soda. It is 1 cup of baking soda, and I already have it in my glass bowl. Now, you do not need to wear gloves for any of this stuff, but I have very sensitive skin, and the baking soda will actually give me a little bit of redness on my skin, so I do wear gloves, but it's because of the baking soda. With the baking soda in the bowl, you're going to add, this is a 1/4 cup of distilled water. All right, so once it's in there, you can mix it up with a spoon initially just to kind of get it started, but then you're going to want to actually knead these shower melts with your hand, because it almost gets like cookie dough. If you've ever made chocolate chip cookies, you know that after a little while the spoon just isn't cutting it anymore. It feels kind of like wet sand. So you really do need to get in there and start mixing it up by hand. And this is soda and water. And it becomes a little pasty, almost like toothpaste. So, I mean, really, you could use this as a base for toothpaste if you wanted to. All right, once you have the baking soda and the water pretty well mixed together, you're going to add 25 drops of Breathe oil.
What? Breathe.
25 drops of Breathe.
Sherry, I'm going to send out the recipes to everybody that's online tonight. So you'll get this in an email.
Writing it down. I'm writing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. If you want a little bit more menthol of a feel for your shower melt, you can add some peppermint. If for whatever reason you don't like Breathe, you can try peppermint and eucalyptus. You can make it however you like it, but 25 drops of Breathe is a pretty good base to start with. And then I'm literally just mixing it in because I want to make sure I have the Breathe evenly distributed throughout the entire mix, or I'm going to get a couple really strong shower melts and then some that just smell like baking soda.
What did I lose?
Okay. If you feel like they get too wet, like this mixture is a little bit wet right now, you can just add some more baking soda to it. And that's what I'm going to do. I had a little bit of extra in a baggie on the table. And it's just like you're making cookies. Like if you're rolling out sand tarts or something and your batter's too gooey, you need to add a little flour so your sand tarts don't stick. Same kind of idea. Then I can take my mold, ice cube tray or fancy thing from Michael's, whatever you're gonna do, and just push down the mixture of that baking soda and water and essential oil through the ice cube tray or through the mold.
So Lauren, did you find that mold at dollar store?
It was a store that had dollar in the name, whether it was Family Dollar, Dollar General, Dollar Store. I couldn't tell you which one it was, but it was someplace really inexpensive.
Okay.
And honestly, you might even be able to find these in the grocery store, like in the paper plate aisle where they have some like miscellaneous trays and that sort of thing.
Actually, I saw that tray. We have a Bell's outlet in Florida. I'm in Florida. And
Oh, okay.
I saw them and I said, oh, well, that's an odd ice cube tray. Now I know what it can be used for.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's odd ice cube. I'm used to the old aluminum one, you know, with the thing you pull out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this is the bottom of an ice cube tray. And I have like the top half of another one that I can start to fill too. And with these size shower melts, I guess depending on how long you like to shower and how big your shower is, you might do 2 melts in a shower. My other recommendation for when you're going to use these in the shower is to not put them right near the drain right off the bat, because it will wash out the smell. So maybe put them a little bit higher up if you have a shelf or something, so that way they're not melting and going right down the drain and you're wanting to take a longer shower.
Yeah, that answered my question, because I was thinking, where would I put this? Like right on because I just have a stand-up shower, and that's the drain's right in the middle, so that might go down pretty quickly. But so I can put this on a shelf.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I came in a little late, and I'm wondering, it's not a soap, so how would you use it?
It's to disperse the Breathe, almost like having a diffuser in the shower.
Oh my goodness, I use Breathe all the time in both my diffusers.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this would be really good, like if you're stuffy or you have a really nasty cough and you need that humidity to open you up. Now you've got an essential oil that you can throw in the shower. You've got a kid that has that barking cough and they need the humidity. put them in the bathroom, put the shower melt in, and you've got a nice way to diffuse some breeze.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that pretty much does it for the shower melts. You can do anything. I just picked breathe because I like it.
I do.
And it opens up to me. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that we're going to make, I should say, after you put it in the mold, you want to let it dry. The recipe calls for overnight, but we're making it at 7 o'clock at night. I would give it a good 24 hours. And if it doesn't feel nice and dry and compact, I would let it go and dry out a little bit longer. If you take it out too soon and you're just letting that mold at room temperature, if you take that out too soon, the melt is going to fall apart. I mean, it's going to fall apart in the shower anyway, but it's just going to fall apart a little faster if you take it out too soon.
Okay.
All right. The next one we're going to do is the warming lotion. Have you guys made any lotions before?
No.
I have not.
There's a couple ways to make your own lotion and a couple different containers you can use. So one is just a simple glass jar, and this you would just dip your finger in and use the lotion on your hands or wherever you want to use it. This kind of container is really nice for a thicker lotion, one that maybe has some beeswax. It's more of like an ointment. You can put lotion in here, but you definitely need it for something thick that has beeswax in it. The other thing you can get is a plastic bottle. If you're not using a lot of citrus oils, which you probably aren't in your lotion, you can just get one of these dollar store, 2-ounce plastic bottles. They also have these at Aroma Tools. And you can fill this up with your unscented lotion and then add your essential oils. That's a really easy way to make your own lotion. And it's about 10 drops of essential oil to a 2-ounce bottle. I have really sensitive skin. So the Holiday, as much as I want a warming effect on my hands, right now, the Holiday Joy warming oil isn't going to be something that I would want to use for myself. I would want something that is going to actually soothe my skin a little bit more as opposed to warm it up. And I want something that's going to moisturize it a little bit more intensely. So what I have found that works for me, and this is a little bit different than what's on the page here, but I'm gonna show you what I do. I'm gonna use Yarrow Palm instead of Holiday Joy, because really, selfishly, I just need to refill mine anyway with Yarrow Palm. And all I do is I fill it up 3/4 of the way with unscented hand lotion, and that is on your recipe sheet, and then 1/4 of the way with fractionated coconut oil. There's a little bit left in here, which is fine. It's not enough to make a huge difference. And I have my doTERRA unscented lotion. And I'm just going to squeeze it into the bottle. Oh,
Who's yelling at you?
toast out. You can tell I use this stuff hard. Okay. All right, so I don't have enough to fill up my lotion bottle the way it is. One of the things I can do is cut off the top of the bottle, dig out the rest with a knife, which, man, I've really been using this one hard. This is going to get a little messy. All right.
Lauren, what was in the bottom of the bottle?
Oh, that was the Yarrow Palm lotion that I had made previously, so it's just running really low. So before it runs out, I'm just adding more to it.
Okay.
Okay.
But you don't have to do this from a batch that's already made. It's just it's not going to make much of a difference for what I'm doing. So I'm just going to keep it going. If I run out of lotion, like I just did, and I have more elsewhere. Keep digging at that if I wanted to. The other thing I could do is melt some of that regular coconut oil, the stuff that looks like Crisco, until it looks like your fractionated coconut oil, and then add some of that to the bottle. When I do this has to be warm, and I have to mix it up real fast so that it doesn't start to solidify again. And I'm just gonna add a little bit.
Lauren, would you use sweet almond oil or jojoba?
You could, there's no reason you couldn't.
Okay.
Then I'll fill it up almost the rest of the way with my fractionated coconut oil that's gonna stay liquid at room temperature. And I'm gonna top it off with 10 drops of my essential oil, which for me is gonna be Yarrow Pom instead of that Holiday Joy. If you're looking for ones for your skin that are really good, Yarrow Pom's in there, obviously. Rose oil, you can even like pull out that Rose Touch roller and just add some drops from that roller. Patchouli, lavender, petite grain. And if you really want to get fancy, you can take your Yarrow Pom body serum from Convention and throw in a couple of squirts. And then once I've got everything together, I'm literally just going to shake it up. And now I've got a holiday lotion. Or a lotion for this terrible dry weather.
Lauren, have you ever thought about using the baby lotion in that?
No, I don't have the baby lotion.
No, I just didn't know if that was an option or not.
Is that, I don't even, this is embarrassing. I don't even know. Is that still available?
It did come back. Whether it's still available right now, I don't know. I'd actually have to go look that up.
I have the diaper cream, but I don't have the baby lotion. Because there's the regular coconut oil in this, it may start to bead a little bit, and that's fine. If it gets too thick and you have trouble with that beading, I would just like warm it up, like stick it under your armpit for a little bit, get it warm enough that it starts to melt, and then put it back on. That's just one way to make your own lotion. Again, a really simple way is to just use the body lotion and then the coconut oil, or the fractionated coconut oil. But if you don't have the fractionated coconut oil, you don't have enough body lotion, you can substitute with some other things.
Lauren, which baby lotion was it?
I just used the doTERRA spa lotion. And I'm not sure, Angelo, do you have any other input on, was it just called the doTERRA baby lotion that's in that line?
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up while you do the next thing.
Okay,
I'm
great.
actually on it right now.
Angelo, I did, and I'm not saying, the only thing for baby lotion is the diaper rash cream, the facial lotion, the baby hair and body wash, but that's it for babies.
Okay, all right. They must have run out of it again.
Rose hand lotion, that's what I see, the citrus.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. The next thing you can make is room spray. This is nice if you work in an environment that doesn't allow you to have a diffuser and you need to be sneaky about how you get your essential oils into your space. Or if you're in an electronic-free zone. You can get bottles, glass bottles from Aroma Tools. Health food stores will sell them too. They make these nice cobalt blue ones. I think these are really pretty for the holidays. The room spray that you have, the recipe that you have, gives you enough room spray for a 2-ounce bottle. So here's your 4-ounce bottle. This is, I think this is your 1-ounce bottle, 2 ounces, somewhere in between. If you want, you can buy a huge bottle. It's like 16 ounces, and you just multiply all the ingredients that you're required by 6. So it's, by 8. So you're going to have almost 50 drops of essential oils in a 16-ounce room spray. For your 2-ounce glass bottle, you're going to have about 6 drops. Since we have a 4-ounce, we're going to use 12. First thing you're going to do is fill up the bottle most of the way to the top with water. And it's distilled water. Nate, can you go in there? Okay. All right. Once you have your bottle filled up most of the way, you're going to want to add something to so that the oils and the water stay mixed. So you're going to want something like a witch hazel, a vodka, or this recipe calls for Epsom salts. This calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of Epsom salt. So I'm just kind of going to estimate as to how much Epsom salt I need. And then 6 drops of essential oil. This recipe doesn't tell you which oils you need to use. If you're just looking for like a holiday room spray, what you can do is go to the second page to where it says set the mood with diffusion and look at some of your diffuser blends, and there's like Frosted Forest, which is 2 drops of wintergreen, 2 drops of Siberian fir, 2 drops of vetiver, and take that recipe and just increase it to where it's up to the size of your bottle. There's 'Tis the Season, which is kind of like my tea. It's wild orange, cassia, and Siberian fir. There's Cinnamon Crisp, which is very similar to 'Tis the Season, but the ratios are a little bit different. So you have more Siberian fir than you do cassia. And then Sleigh Bells, which is a really nice smell. It's really fresh, is wild orange, peppermint, holiday joy, and cypress. And all of those oils help with respiratory support too, especially the cypress.
Okay, question.
Yes.
So all those recipes that you just named off, where did you find them?
They are on the second page of the handout.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be emailing that out right after the class tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And you can always make your own. Like, you don't have to follow a recipe. If you really like the way something like, I like the way myrrh smells. All you have to do to mix your own is to take the cap off the bottle, find something you think it might go with, like say I want to do myrrh and lavender together. So I have the caps off of both. And I just do like a little whiff test to see, is this something that's going to smell nice together? The myrrh is heavier and you're going to smell it after you smell the lavender, but if it smells okay together, it should smell okay together in your room spray.
I have a question, Lauren.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you used any of these recipes in doTERRA's continuous spray bottles?
In
In
the misting bottles,
the misters?
I have not.
Okay.
I just have so many of these bottles from when I bulk ordered Aroma Tools. I haven't needed to buy anything else.
Okay. I was just wondering if they would work in those because I have several of those and I love them. And I thought that would be a nice gift too, like to get those and fill them and give those as gifts.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that would be fine. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I'm gonna do.
I made some of them from the recipes from when we were out in at Bongiorno, the recipes they had in the bathrooms, and I used those spraying bottles. They're wonderful.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I would think they would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you just use oils or do you mix in the mist bottles?
Yeah, I use the water. The recipe is the water, and then I use witch hazel, and
Okay.
then the ones that were from out there, it had sandalwood. I forget. I could pull the recipe up if anybody's interested, but it had sandalwood. It just smells wonderful.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Looking at
Thank you.
the continuous mist
I do
sprayer,
the same. The distilled water, a little witch hazel, and the oils.
Okay.
So I just added my oils to my spoon that has the Epsom salt on it, and it makes the Epsom salt kind of thick. So you do have to use your finger to help guide it off the spoon. Once you've got your Epsom salt and your water in there, you can fill the bottle the rest of the way to the top with water. Often they'll have these sprayers that they're meant for multiple size bottles, so they'll have this really long plastic tube. And I just measure that to my bottle and then cut at the bottom so that it's sized to whatever bottle I'm using. It screws right on. I shake it up. And once that Epsom salt is dispersed, your essential oil smell is dispersed, and you missed it. Oh, maybe. Oh, do I have a busted tap? There we go. Oh, that's nice. So what I did, I mixed it up a little bit. I put some myrrh and some holiday joy and some fir together. And again, you make it to how you like it. And if you're using this as part of Christmas presents, you can use it to whatever the people you would typically buy for would like. I heard some people say, oh, my family goes to Bath and Body Works and they get that stress relief, spray. Well, that stress relief spray at Bath and Body Works, when I bought it years ago, was like $14 a bottle. And all it is eucalyptus and lavender. So you can come up with a much nicer, cheaper, healthier way to do a room spray for them for Christmas, and it's homemade. So that means it's extra special. Any questions on the room spray? All right. I do have rollerball recipes in here. Is there anybody that's in the group now that hasn't made a rollerball? Cricket. Okay, so everybody's made a rollerball. Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to demo rollerball if everybody's made a rollerball. There's 2 recipes for rollerballs. One is for comfort. The big one in there that really makes that rollerball is the black spruce, which is new for us this year. And the second one is joy. And the one that makes that, I feel, is the Siberian fir, which isn't really, you can use Siberian or Douglas fir. It's not new to us, but that fir really helps brighten up the scent along with the citruses. All right, hand soap. doTERRA does make hand soap, but you can make your own if you prefer something other than On Guard. For hand soap, you're going to need a foaming dispenser bottle. You're going to need some Castile soap and some water. So bear with me a moment. I have to go refill my water.
So now I'm going to have to go buy some more misting bottles because I think that's going to be one of the easy Christmas gifts to hand out to folks, and the versatility of just doing whatever oils you want in it. I mean, you can almost change it up by the season if you want.
Yes.
Angelo, looking at that continuous misting bottle.
Yeah.
Product description says that it's totally effective with all the oils. So, and as long as that Epsom salt is thoroughly dissolved,
right,
shouldn't be a problem. And if you're concerned about that, definitely switch to the witch hazel.
That would be the perfect fix for that. If you're worried about the Epsom salt not dissolving up.
And I would be, because depending on the ratios, it may fall out of solution, and because that's an ultra fine mister, I think it could potentially clog. So I would switch the Epsom salts out for the witch hazel.
Yeah, I think that would be my idea too. So.
And
Cool.
rather than just spray it in the air, I often spray it on my my shower curtain happens to be made from material, and so I spray it on that, and it just keeps the smell in the room for a lot longer. It's wonderful.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Where are you getting the misting bottles from? Did she say? I'm sorry.
This one is an older style one from Aroma Tools.
Okay,
The top that's on here is really great too. If you're going to use this bottle to make something like a sprayable salad dressing, you could fill up something as thick as olive oil in here and it will come out. But the finer misting spray that they're talking about is something that doTERRA offers now. And
Okay.
I think it's purple, isn't it, Angelo?
Yeah, yeah, it's offered. You can go into the and order it. It's under the supplies
Yeah.
okay.
stuff. So you can add it right to your LRP too. So that's cool.
Okay, thank you.
I think you get 2 for $12.
Correct.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Right. So I just took my soap dispenser apart. Again, I have really sensitive skin and I like to do stuff that helps to moisturize my hands as much as possible. So I have pure Castile soap. I get Dr. Bronner's. This used to be available pretty readily on Amazon, but the last few times I've checked, they didn't have any. I found this at Rite Aid. A bottle this size at Rite Aid, this is 32 ounces, is about $19, but you don't use a whole lot of it when you mix up your soap.
I think
Target-
Target carries.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So I've got my soap dispenser bottle, and I'm just gonna fill it maybe a quarter of the way up with this soap, if that. It's not very thick, but it does make a nice foam even with just a little bit. Then I like to add my essential oils next. It really doesn't matter if you add them now or if you add them later, but I feel like they mix better with the soap. I don't know if that's true or not, if I add them now. On your recipe sheet, it shows 20 drops. And on your recipe sheet, it shows cedarwood, and I think it was Douglas fir, 10 drops of Douglas fir. So you can do that. That also makes the soap really nice for the skin, but it also doesn't make it too girly. So if you're doing this for a guy and they are like, oh, whatever, your oils, and then you have it be this nice, like, fir smelling soap, they're more likely to use it and less likely to complain about it. All right, I've got myrrh. I'm doing 10 drops
We
of
would
myrrh.
never do that.
So I got 10 drops of myrrh, and myrrh can be really thick, just to give you a heads up. Was it leadership, I think? I was really having some issues, and I was like, I know, I'm just going to go home, and I'm going to take a bath in myrrh. Well, I didn't realize this, but the top of my myrrh, the cap, had actually crusted, and it stuck to, so the reducer, the clear plastic part, had stuck to the black part of the bottle. So when I lifted the cap off, there was nothing. It was just a big gaping hole, and I wasn't paying attention to it. I was just like, myrrh takes forever to come out. I'm just going to hold this over the tub now. And I took like a $40 bath. So just be aware. You know, wipe off the top, it can get crusty.
One of the things you can do with the myrrh to help it come out a little bit easier is I usually roll it in between my hands and warm it up for a little bit, and then that will help get that out of the bottle a little quicker.
Yeah.
And also, I think I remember that I'll have to look this up, that fractionated coconut oil, because I do it for the vetiver, because it's so thick too. If you put it around the inside of the bottle, that kind of helps with that thickening.
Okay.
Cool.
The other thing
That's
that I've
good to
done
know.
for those that get crusty is that press and seal. I put it over the top and then screw my lid down on, and that prevents the $40 error.
I'm gonna have to try that. Well, now I've got my oils and my Castile soap mixed up in the bottom, and now I can just add my water.
And this is distilled water also?
You know, I don't use distilled water for the soap. I think, no, even the recipe doesn't call for distilled water. I think some of the recipes are a little, they overuse distilled water. And I'm not sure why, because I find I get pretty much the same results whether it's distilled or not.
If you have really hard water like I do, distilled water, the calcium gets clogged up in the pumps.
Okay, so that might be why. I have a little bit of space at the top of my bottle, so like I could, right before I put it in the bathroom, just add some water to that. But usually the pump, you can see that like big plastic piece in the middle. If you have it filled up all the way and you push that plastic piece down, it's going to cause your bottle to overflow. So I always try to remember to fill up the water at like to the top at the very end, just for that reason. And then I'm ready to use my soap. Maybe. We'll have it. Well, I guess it's helpful if it's turned on. There we go. And it foams out really nicely, and it smells like myrrh and lavender, and it's very soothing for the hands.
Lauren, where do you get the foam pump?
Say that again?
Where do you get the foam pump bottles?
I got mine from Aroma Tools.
Aroma Tools.
Aroma Tools is my go-to.
They're really cheap too. They're like $1.50 or something like that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So you can bust out a whole bunch of Christmas gifts at once. Just line them up and get her done. All right, that pretty much covers your first page of recipes. The second page is the diffuser blends that we talked about, and it's also the bath bombs. I'm gonna need some new gloves for the bath bombs. I'm just gonna clean out this bowl so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna clean out my water thing here.
You need a support staff there, Lauren.
Well, my support staff is taking a bath right now.
Okay. Yeah, the Aroma Tools I have found has pretty much anything container-wise when it comes to some DIY stuff. The thing I want you guys to be aware of, though, is it seems to be on a slow boat from China whenever Aroma Tools ships anything, because when it leaves their facility, it could be up to 7 to 8 or 9 days before it actually arrives on my porch. So whenever it comes to ordering things, make sure you give yourself the lead time with that. There are some other places we order from. Oil Life is another one that has a good variety of things. For rollerballs, I usually go to Amazon and have found some good deals there. So there are some places to shop around. If you're looking for something specific, you can just let us know. But we found Aroma Tools to be the one place that pretty much has everything centrally located. The other thing about Aroma Tools is sometimes their shipping is a little expensive, so I wait to try to find one of those free shipping if it's $100 order. Well, sometimes I don't need $100 worth of stuff, so I'll throw some emails out to my teams and say, hey, I'm putting in an Aroma Tools order, who wants in? And then I'll just submit one order, and then we'll get the free shipping. So there's ways to work around stuff. You just gotta kind of it's kind of like pre-planning of the things you're going to make and the containers you're going to need and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a chance to use the oil key yet?
The oil key?
Yeah, it's credit card size, and it has various apertures, and if you need to take lids off, or it's really helpful with roller balls.
Yeah, I have a version of that. I bought actually a 3-pack on Amazon, and they're metal, so they're very sturdy. They're phenomenal for when it comes to refilling roller balls or putting the roller ball back on, getting the orifices off bottles. They're fantastic.
The other thing I neglected to mention was you can get labels. You can get simple labels off of Amazon. You can get fancier labels. It just all depends on what you want to spend and how fancy you want it to look. If you get a simple label that is not waterproof, my recommendation is after you've written it up and put it on your bottle, you take some Scotch tape and run it over any kind of print that you just had, especially if you want to know what's in that bottle. So that's what I'm doing with my hand soap. It's not really going to be the prettiest when you do it with the labels that aren't waterproof, but if it's your house and you don't care if it's pretty or not, it works, and it saves you some frustration trying to figure out what was in that hand soap that you really liked and can't remember what the recipe was.
Another good idea is to use packing tape, because packing tape is really clear and it's thicker, so it just covers over a label by using just one piece. So
Yes.
I use packing tape for everything. It's the female version of duct tape.
True. Truth that it is. All right, for the final recipe, these are the bath bomb molds. You're gonna need some baking soda, a cup of that, half a cup of citric acid. You can get food grade citric acid. If you've ever made your own dishwashing or dishwasher, like pellets, you've used citric acid to make those. It helps with the fizzing action. Half a cup of Epsom salt, and this calls for half a cup of cornstarch powder. Well, wouldn't you know that, I never have all the ingredients just the way they're written, so I had to look around to see what I could use. So instead of half a cup of cornstarch powder, I had coconut flour. And my baths smell really awesome. They smell nice and sweet like coconut, and it works. So if you can find a substitution that works, go ahead and use it. If not, you have the recipe, and this recipe will work as is. For time's sake, I went ahead and prepared my ingredients in a mason jar ahead of time. I'm just going to shake them up. And you basically want all of your dry ingredients to go together. Maybe. There we go. I think these got a little bit hard when they were in my car in the cold. The citric acid I'm finding is what toughens up the fastest, and it's also what gets, I'll say, wasted the fastest. That's the thing that is going to fizz the earliest in your bath bombs. So if you get this mixture wet before you're taking a bath, you're going to have to add more citric acid, because that's what makes it fun and fizzy. All right. And again, you're going to be getting your hands into this just like you were with the shower melts. You want to make sure that your dry stuff is really well mixed before you even think about adding any wet ingredients to this. The dry ingredients, when they're all mixed together, it's going to look like sparkling sand.
Ooh, sparkling.
Sparkling sand. And that's part of that's the Epsom salt, and part of that is your citric acid. All right. That is pretty well mixed. So then it calls for 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil. All right, so that's about half of this. And I put my coconut oil in a mason jar inside a bowl with hot water in it to keep it melted for this. You can add a little bit, a tiny little bit of water. And then you're gonna add your essential oils to that mixture. On your recipe sheet, option 1 is 3 drops of passion, which is an emotional oil. It's one of those in the emotional roller ball or emotional therapy kit. It has some florals. I think it has some spices in it. It's for like a sexy bath. So passion and myrrh, nice and good for the skin, and it smells nice. Option 2 is more for just soothing the skin. So it's going to be your lavender and cobaiba, although there's no reason you couldn't do something like myrrh or any of the other oils that are good for the skin. So it's whatever you really want to get out of these bath bombs. I would avoid putting anything really hot in here. Not that anyone wants an oregano bath, but like that, I would say that would be a bomb of a bath bomb. Like that would not be one I would do. Or cinnamon, that might hurt a little bit. I'm going to add my 5 drops of lavender. Whenever I'm mixing oils and I have a floral or a citrus, I'm generally going to put more of that type of oil in my mixture because they're typically top oils, so they're going to gas off first. That's with roller balls, that's with diffuser blends, so that's why you see the recipe's a little heavier there. And then with something like cobaiba, which is more of a middle note, I'm only going to need a couple drops. All right, I'm just going to swish around my mixture, and very, very slowly, I'm going to add this while I'm stirring to my bath bomb mix. There we go. If I add this too fast, it's going to fizz and I'm going to have a big mess. I'm going to need to add more citric acid. For bath bombs at places like Michael's and Joann Fabrics or craft stores, they have metallic bath bomb molds that you can use. So if you're making these over and over again, or you're looking to sell them at craft fairs, those are really nice. They make them nice round shapes, and then you can wrap them up in some shrink wrap. Use a hair dryer to firm up that shrink wrap, get some nice ribbon. If you're making them for kids, you can use Jello molds. If you've ever seen the character, oh, I just went too fast. Started to fizz. I'm gonna need some more citric acid. You can use the character molds. So I'm making minion molds. I'm making minion bath bombs. You can also use ice cube trays. And this should be kind of like your shower melts, a very similar consistency, like a hard wet sand. If they're still too dry, you can add some more coconut oil to it, which I think is what I'm going to end up doing.
You got to go real slow when you're adding those oils, huh?
You do have to go really slow.
Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
What about doing this with a mix master?
I don't see a reason that you couldn't. Just make sure you're going really slow when you're adding your wet ingredients.
I'm just thinking that would keep the dry ingredients moving around as you're slowly adding your wet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, at my house, I am the mix master. That's what we got to work with over here.
And when you first get started, I wonder if there's the potential that the dry stuff could fly all over.
For the dry stuff to what?
when you first get started, before you're adding the moisture to it, I wonder if there's the potential that the dry could, like, you know, sometimes if you use a mix master and you just have like the flour and the sugar, the flour wants to go all over the place.
Oh, I would imagine a low setting would
Low setting.
help prevent that, but
Yeah, you would want to go at the lowest setting possible.
yeah.
I'm the mix master at my house too, so I don't have to worry.
All right. Kicking it old school. I'm going to add a little bit more citric acid since I fizzed a little bit. I went too fast. Set off my bomb a little early. And my kids don't like them unless they fizz.
Well, that's the whole point of it, right?
I know, right? It does smell good though. Oh man.
Yeah, I kind of envy you right now with playing with all of that stuff. You probably got some awesome smells going on.
Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah. And my kids took a bath using the Salmus bath blend, the sexy oils, which like they're 4 and 7, so they really weren't thinking about that when they were taking a bath. But I asked, how did you like it, guys? What'd you think? And my daughter, who sometimes gets itchy skin like I do, she said, well, it was fun, and my skin really didn't itch afterwards. And I'm like, all right, that's a win. I'll take that.
Absolutely.
So then I had to try it, and really, I did not need lotion after that bath.
Really?
So that said, make sure that after the bath, you rinse out the tub really well. So I rinsed it out with hot water, and I also followed that with some vinegar, just to be sure. I mean, it's mixed in there. Everything's mixed together. But I'm a little paranoid when it comes to oil in my pipes. So, all right, and I've got my Minion Jello molds that I'm using to make my kids' bath bombs. Because why not, right? This will make it fun. They'll use them. And just like I did for the shower melts, I'm literally just making sure the mixture is mixed well, so that I don't have, an oil just stuck in one clump. And then I'm just packing it in the mold and pushing it down and packing it. If I want to get real picky, I could take a knife across the top and make sure it's perfectly flat. If I wanted to get even more a little adventurous and fun with the kids, I could get one of those pills that you pop them in the tub and they go from being a pill to like a big foam dinosaur. So that way the bath bomb goes off and then they have a cool toy in the middle. That would be a great idea for a gift. You could add things like sparkles to it if you wanted to. Just make sure that they're not too big, because remember, this is going to go down the drain. There are, what's it called? Not flour, but it's spelled powdered food coloring.
Oh.
So if you wanted to make these colored, you could get powdered food coloring. I don't know what's in them, so I can't say that it's going to be great for your skin. And probably if you're using essential oils like from doTERRA, you're more interested in this being good for your skin than you are in it being purple. So just watch what your food coloring might be made from. If you have this in just like an ice cube tray, say you just want to pack it in your ice cube tray, but you wanted to stamp it and make it special somehow, you can get little stampers from Michaels that are letters. And once you have your bath bomb packed in here, you can push the stamper down and imprint the letter bomb, and that's a signature that will stay when it dries. Do I have any bath bombs left in the bathroom? Now that my helpers are done bathing, they can.
Lauren, how soon would you have to use these up? Are you at risk of these drying out if you don't use them within a
You
certain
want them
amount
to
of time?
dry out.
Oh.
No, Joe, the ones I made. You want them to dry out before they hit the tub. So
Okay.
you're gonna have these dry out just like you did your shower melts.
So that recipe that you just made, is that going to be good for those 6 little minions there, or are you going to have a little extra?
Oh, I think I'm gonna have a little bit extra. I made bath bomb ice cubes. I did not put these in the freezer. These molded at room temperature, but these are just ice cubes, ice cube tray bath bombs. And one of these with this recipe was good enough for me for a bath. My kids had 2 of them, one for each of their little bodies, and they were very smooth, we'll say. They were very smooth. So I keep these in a little baggie. We have one of the shelving above we have shelving above the toilet. You know, to store, hold on, my camera's wonky. To store like towels and bath toys and that sort of thing. So this goes right on that shelving. Bath time, if they want one, they can grab one, pop it in the tub. They like to watch it fizz. And then I know that their skin at least has a little bit of extra moisture before they're going to bed. And then I like to do oils with them too, like a nice routine on their back for bedtime. And this is an overnight dry as well.
Okay.
So how long can they be stored for?
I don't keep mine around long enough to know. So that's a good question. That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I would think a few months.
I've made
at
toilet
least.
bombs.
What's that?
I've made toilet bombs and I keep them in a plastic
Yeah.
container and they last a long time. Like I'll make 50 toilet bombs at the same time and then I have them in each bathroom and they've lasted a very long time. As long as they're airtight and no moisture gets to them.
Okay.
All right. Well, if anybody keeps their bath bombs around for a while and they go bad, you'll have to let me know how long it took for your bath bombs to go bad. Or if you hear somewhere or read anything about a time.
Maybe they're like Twinkies.
Yeah, they're like Twinkies.
They never go bad.
What other questions do you guys have for me?
Where did you buy the citric acid? Did you say?
Amazon. Amazon has it. And they have food grade. And since I'm putting this on my skin and I know it's going to absorb into my body, I want it to minimally be safe enough to eat.
That's a good point.
Here's another good point too. The spray bottle, for example, if it's sold out onto doTERRA, you can always look under. Now, most of you know that I do work for Walmart, but you can also check instead of like going on Walmart.com. If there's if you're finicky with spray bottles, I know most people are like, oh, I want to, try a different spray bottle that has different sprays. I mean, Walmart does sell them. I mean, if you don't want to shop on Amazon or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of options to get the material, just not the oils. The oils have to be doTERRA.
Oh, yeah, you get that right.
Oh.
I had that discussion yesterday.
Yes. So.
Do you guys think you're going to try any of the recipes?
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Which one are you going to try? Or one? One or one?
Hand soap. And spray. And the shower melts.
awesome.
I'm definitely gonna try the soap. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. I'm
But
gonna try.
not the bath bombs because I have an animal that goes in my bathroom. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, I'll be honest. I don't know what kind of animal you have. I have 2 dogs. Soon to be 4. For those of you who didn't know, I'm getting puppies on Saturday.
Aw.
Yeah, they're going to be working dogs, though, not my suburban dogs that move to a farm and still act like suburban dogs. So, anyway, I was making the bath bombs, and I'm not like the neatest person in the kitchen. So I was dropping stuff everywhere, and my dog was literally like licking it off the floor, and it was fine.
Yes, nice breath.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so 1 pack of Minions done, and I think I have enough for some ice cubes.
Wow, that is a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Can I assume that once you use a mold to make these things, that you do not use that mold for other things, or do you just wash it out?
I just wash it out. Yeah. I'm not using anything in here really that I couldn't eat. Like even the Epsom salts, you can eat Epsom salts. They're indicated for constipation. They're a laxative.
But you would have to make sure that the oil is also safe for internal consumption, correct?
Well, not necessarily, because I've used oils that weren't safe for internal consumption. Like I've mixed stuff like say Balance on spoons that are just my kitchen spoons, and I just washed them off. But if you were gonna, I would not ingest these, but if you accidentally did, you would want to make sure your oil was safe for that.
Who knows? You've maybe just created the new Tide Pod.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
So, that's some pretty awesome stuff, Lauren. I think this is some really good, easy kind of Christmas gifts that that we could put together and give out to folks. Gives me new ideas. So that's all of your recipes then, isn't it, Lauren?
That is the list.
Okay. I have already emailed it out to all of you guys, so
Thank
you should have it in your inbox. And like I said on the email, feel free to change up the oils to whichever ones that you prefer.
Okay.
Otherwise, really just kind of look at what you want to put together and start collecting those things. And, let us know what you put together and what you're handing out this year. Interested to hear what people are putting together and handing out as gifts. So, Lauren, do you have anything else?
I just want to say to Lauren that Martha Stewart has nothing on her.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, next time I'll have Snoop Dogg in my kitchen. We'll have Snoop Pup. I'll have two more pups. Maybe I'll bring them on camera.
Aww.
Good luck with them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you,
All right,
Lauren.
you're welcome.
Everything.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks, Lauren.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
too.
Thanksgiving to you,
You
Robin, and everybody else. And we'll catch up with you guys later on. Enjoy.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
see ya.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.